In this lab, we're going to be creating the Muppet Voting version 2 application. So in the current version of Muppet Voting, as you see in the screen here, you should have it set up so that when you click on one of the pictures, it tallies the votes down here. But if you click on the button below, it doesn't do anything. And that's what we're going to be working on. So let me go here to the PDF file that you'll be using to build the application. Now this lab discusses the concept of conditional statements. A conditional is a statement that makes a choice based on a yes or no answer or a true or false answer. And the conditionals that are going to be used in App Inventor are the if-then conditionals. Alright, let me go to App Inventor here, and I will pull up the blocks area where we're going to be adding a conditional in here to determine whether Miss Piggy or Kermit win in the voting contest. So we're going to start off by going to the control area, and the first item on the list is an if-then conditional control. So we'll bring that down into our editor. So at this point, the first thing we want to check is, are the Piggy votes greater than the Kermit votes? And of course, we've already set up variables to hold those values. So what we need to do is check them. We're going to do this by using a block from the math panel. I'm going to pull over this here that will check two values against each other. And what I'm going to do is take the value of the Piggy votes and I'm going to compare it against the value of the Kermit votes. Now in this case, I don't want to know if they equal each other. I want to know if the Piggy votes is less than the Kermit votes. So if that's the case, if the Piggy votes is less than the Kermit votes, that means that Kermit has more votes than Miss Piggy. So we want to do something. So in this case, let me go back to the application, and I probably would like to change the text on this button to say who the winner is. So I'll go to the results button, and I will pull out the results button text. Actually, I pulled the wrong one out here. Let's go back to that. I want to set the result button text, not get its value. I want to set the result button text to some new text. And this text here will be Kermit is the winner. Okay. Now, if this isn't true, we really want to say that Miss Piggy's the winner. So using this kind of construction, there's a step, or there's a secondary attribute known as the else statement. We could say if this statement is true, if Piggy votes is less than Kermit votes, then we do this. Or if this isn't true, we do something else. It's the else that's important there. We need to add an else to this construct. And we do that by clicking on this blue button here. And I'm going to grab the else attribute and place that as part of this. Okay, let me click away here. So if this is the result, if Kermit votes is greater than Piggy votes, do this. Otherwise, I want to set it to Miss Piggy is the winner. All right, so I have this if statement, but by itself, it's not going to do anything because nothing is calling it, as in nothing is allowing it to run. If you notice up here, the Piggy button, when you click it, this is how it changes the value of the variables and it changes the text. We want this if statement to be run when we click the results button. So let me pull that into the designer and then put this if statement inside of it. So now if I open up the application and I click on this, we should notice, see, I'll make this Kermit larger, that it should say Kermit is the winner. And if Miss Piggy has more votes, it should say Miss Piggy is the winner. Now, there is a problem with this particular design. You may have already thought of it, but what happens if both of the values are the same? That's a problem. It says Miss Piggy is the winner. Well, Miss Piggy shouldn't be the winner. It should be a tie. So we have to somehow take that into account within our programming code. So what we would like to do is we need to have another else statement, or excuse me, another if statement embedded within the if command. So let's think about this. In order to understand how to change this if statement, first I want to talk about the logic of this. So I'm going to move over to PowerPoint for a moment and discuss the logic flow of this. So here's a logic diagram that describes the if statement, where here we have if Piggy votes are less than Kermit votes, then we do this statement, which is the set results button text to Kermit as the winner. Else we do this. This is exactly what's happening with this code here. So let's go back to this. And what we really want to do is we want to be able to check for, is there a tie as well? So let's make a decision on where we want to do this. So if Piggy votes is less than Kermit votes, then we know that Kermit is going to be the winner. Else. So this is a likely area to put the if statement. So let me go ahead and I'm going to remove this from our group here, and I'm going to put the new statement here that we need to add the logic here. So we've added a new if statement within the else statement of the command. So we're going to check a new if statement that now if the Piggy votes equals Kermit votes, then we're going to set the results button to it's a tie. Otherwise, another else will set the button to Miss Piggy as the winner. So let's go back. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change this if statement a bit. We're going to change this from an if then else to an if then else if design. So let's look back at this for just a minute. You can say that if then you do this, else if then else. So that's the logic flow that we're going to try to change this to. So instead of the else here, I need an else if. So let's make a change to this. And I'll bring the else if in here. And within the else if, I have to check if the Piggy votes equal Kermit votes. So what I'll do is I will copy this thing we set up here already and just change it from a less than to an equals. Then I need to change the then that comes after this, just like the then here, to it's a tie. And this leaves the final else to say Miss Piggy is the winner. Now if I go back to our emulator, if I click on it now with the votes being tied, it should say it's a tie. Here, Kermit's the winner and Piggy's the winner. So with this particular construct, you can see you can do some very deep logical flows. You just have to be very careful when you do this to ensure that you're looking at the results correctly. To do this, I often sit down and create a logic chart to make sure that I'm thinking of it correctly. Okay, that's the end of lab. That's the end of this lab.